Jack Blackfeather's hands shook as he gripped the faded envelope, not from a chill of the Montana wind whistling through his cabin door, but from a ghost rising from the past. The postmark was from Seattle, but the handwriting belonged to a man long buried, Bill Whitaker, the only outsider who'd ever treated him like family, pulling him from the brink during those brutal reservation days. Inside, the note was short and sharp. "She's coming, Jack. My niece is from Chicago. Got the map. Keep her safe." I showed her the rivers, but not the wolves. As the evening train rattled into Willow Creek, Jack watched from the shadows of his repair shop, wondering if this promise would drag him back into the fire he'd barely escaped. Her name was Clara Whitaker, and she stepped off the platform in a tailored coat that screamed big city polish amid the dust and denim of this frontier town. Clutching a worn briefcase like it held her last dollar, her eyes scanned the crowd with a mix of grit and naivety that could get a person killed out here. Jack stayed put at his workbench, hammering away at a busted wagon wheel, but he felt her approach before she spoke. The saloon across the street fell quiet as heads turned miners, ranchers, folks who'd seen too many dreams dry up in the Badlands. "I'm looking for Jack Blackfeather," she said, her voice steady but laced with that urban clip. He set down his tools and turned, towering at 6'7", his Lakota heritage etched in his sharp features and long braid. "That's me," he rumbled, wiping grease from his hands. She didn't flinch, just held out the envelope matching his. "Uncle Bill said you'd help. He left me this." From the briefcase came a folded map, inked with ancient symbols Lakota, markings blended with old settler codes. Jack's gut twisted. This wasn't treasure. It was a path to forbidden grounds, relics from his ancestors' forced marches 20 years back. Clara's eyes lit up. "He said it's gold enough to fund a clinic for the kids here, the ones forgotten by the railroads and the government." Jack studied her, seeing Bill's fire in her gaze, but he knew the truth would shatter it. Those symbols led to burial sites, sacred artifacts worth a fortune to collectors, but priceless to his people. "It's not that simple," he muttered, but she just smiled, that determined grin that hooked him like a fish on a line. "Nothing worth doing is, but I'll give it a shot." That night, Jack tossed on his cot, the map burning in his mind. Promises to the dead weighed heavily in these parts, especially when they tangled with a woman's ambitions that could upend everything. By dawn, he decided he'd guide her, but on his terms. Claire showed up at his shop in practical jeans and boots, her city polish already fading. Teaching her to handle a horse was a comedy of errors. She gripped the reins like they were china teacups, and the mare bucked her off twice. "You're thinking too hard," Jack growled, helping her up. Her laugh echoed across the valley, light and unburdened, cracking something in his chest he'd long sealed shut. As they rode out toward the Black Hills foothills, tension simmered. Clara peppered him with questions about Uncle Bill, how he'd saved Jack from a fever after a skirmish with cavalry scouts. "He taught me books, showed me whites aren't all vultures," Jack admitted, his voice rough. But he held back the map's secret, watching her adapt with a scholar's mind to studied maps in Chicago libraries, dreaming of making a difference. At Eagles Pass, a sudden storm turned a stream into a raging river. Jack waded in first, but the current yanked Clara under. He dove, pulling her close, their bodies pressed in the chaos. For a heartbeat, amid the roar, her face tilted up, eyes wide with fear and something electric. They stumbled ashore, soaked and laughing, but the spark ignited debates in Jack's head. Could he trust her with his people's secrets? Was this pull just survival adrenaline? The real gut punch came that evening by the campfire. "What's eating you about this map?" Clara pressed, her intellect slicing through his silence. Jack poked the flames, sparks flying like accusations. "It ain't gold. It's our burial grounds artifacts hidden when the army herded us out. Her face paled, but she didn't back down. You think I'd rob graves? Uncle Bill trusted me. The argument flared hotter, defending progress, him raging about stolen heritage. It left them both raw, questioning loyalties, the kind of clash that made blood boil over cultural theft and white entitlement. Jack stormed off into the night, fuming at how she'd twisted his words, but dawn brought an uneasy truce. They pushed on, the map pulling them deeper. Trouble hit like a thunderclap on day 3. Major Harlan Voss's camp, smoke curling from rifles at the ready. Voss, Jack's old army superior, a relic of the Indian Wars with a grudge as deep as the canyons. He'd gotten wind of the map through whispers in saloons. Traveling with his savage, Miss Whitaker, Voss sneered, his men circling. Clara shot back, chin high. The only savage here is you, poaching on sacred land. Voss laughed, cold and calculating. That treasure will clear my debts. Hand it over. The standoff crackled Jack's hand on his pistol, Clara's quick lie about already finding it buying seconds. But Voss's men lunged, a scuffle erupting in dust and fists. Jack took a graze from a bullet, blood soaking his shirt, fueling Clara's fury as she swung a rock, cracking one thug's arm. They bolted into a blinding sandstorm, hearts pounding. The escape a razor-edge victory that left readers seething at Voss's racism and the system's cruelty. Deeper in the hidden gorge, the cave revealed itself behind a waterfall veil. Ancient carving star maps, seasonal lock-smashed Lakota lore with math. Clara decoded puzzles from her books. Together, they unlocked the chamber. No gold bars, but pottery, beads, tools pulsing with history. These could fund museums, Clara whispered, but Jack's voice thundered. They belong to us. The debate raged again, her pushing education, him defending identity, stirring frustrations over assimilation versus preservation. Then Voss burst in, rifle cocked. Step aside. Clara leaped between them, shielding Jack. Over my body. The cave shook as she triggered a loose boulder calculated from her geology, reeds burying Voss's crew in rubble, but sparing the relics. In the melee, Jack fought Voss hand-to-hand, fists flying in a brutal clash of old hatreds. Clara's scream piercing as a stray shot nicked her side. They fled with a few pieces, sealing the rest, the adrenaline-fueled escape a whirlwind of near-deaths that had pulses racing. 3 nights later, under a starlit sky, wounds bandaged, the air thick with unspoken words. I could send you back to Chicago, Jack offered, voice low. Clara polished a salvaged necklace, her eyes soft. But that's not what you want. The confession spilled. Her realizing home was with him, not bricks and books. Jack pulled her close, their kiss a release from the storm passionate, earned through fire. It was the payoff, melting the built-up tension into sweet resolution. 6 months on, the clinic stood proud on Willow Creek's edge, funded by a hidden vein of silver they'd uncovered separately. Jack built it with his hands. Clara stocked it with supplies for all native, settler, immigrant kids alike. Voss rotted in jail, his schemes exposed. As they watched children play, learning side by side, Jack squeezed her hand. Regrets. She shook her head. We built more than stone, we built us. Little Tommy running deer approached, holding a too large stethoscope. This is too big for me, Mr. Jack. Jack grinned, then grow into it. But try anyway. Years passed. The clinic grew into a community hub, legends swirling about the couple who tamed the hills. Their story proved love conquered divides, heritage endured, and progress came through unity. No loose and just a legacy of healing and hope. What do you think, should cultural artifacts always stay with their people? Or Can sharing them build bridges? Drop your take in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stance and why.